Okay, so now we're going to practice all three things. We're going to practice scalar multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So sort of putting it all together. With the addition, if you look here at my matrix D, you'll notice I've thrown in variables. And so if I don't have variables, you can always plug them into the calculator and let the calculator do the math for you. But if I throw in variables, which we'll throw in variables, you have to do them by hand. All right, so we'll get to a couple examples with the variable cases. Right, the first one is just a straight scalar multiplication and subtraction. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to write down my 4 times c. And instead of subtraction, I'm going to switch to add by -1 times my matrix b. So those are the two. And I'm just going to go ahead and put them down here. I'm going to go ahead and do my multiplication. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take c and multiply it by 4. Alright, so every number in C gets multiplied by 4, and so I get -8, 32, 12, -24, 4, and 2, so there's my 4C. I'm going to add to it -b, so remember, so now I'm doing the -b. And so whenever I do a negative, it's just every sign gets flipped. What was a positive becomes a negative. What was a negative becomes a positive. And so when I take -b, I'm going to get -4, +8, +6, +1. 0 is just 0. It's neither negative nor positive. And then a -2. Make sure I do that right. So -4, +8, +6, +1, 0, -2. Okay. Now that I've multiplied through by my scalars, now it's just add those 6 numbers together to get my final answer. So 4c minus b is my, again, going to give me out, and I can do the math. You should always check to make sure you can do the math, and I could because all of my matrices are 2 by 3. So you can look here, all of them are 3 by 2s, 3 by 2s, 3 by 2. So I can always add and subtract these. Alright, so now I'm going to add my numbers. So I get my -8, my -4 is going to give me out -12, 32 and 8 is 40, 12 and 6 is 18, 24, -24 plus 1 is -23, 4, and that zeroes out. 2 and -2 will give me a 0. Alright, so that is my new matrix where I have multiplied and subtract. Okay, so like I said, you could technically have typed in C and B on your calculator and made to the calculator. You could check this on the calculator. Right? But we will throw in letters like D, and so the next two examples will have the D matrix in it, because this is how we'll get to force you to do matrix math by hand. Alright, so again, these have variables where I can't plug it into the calculator. So the next two examples will involve my matrix D. Alright, so my matrix D plus 1/2 B. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this out. So matrix D, and then I'm going to go ahead and multiply my 1/2 by my matrix B. So D is just written exactly as it is on your paper there. So D is 4x, y, 2z, -1 plus t, that is a t, 4 and -7. Right, and then here I'm going to go through my matrix B, and everything in matrix B gets multiplied by 1/2. So 4 times 1/2. So again, I'm just going to write it out. So I'm going to get a 2, -4, -3, 1/2, 0, and 1. Alright, so that's my 1/2 B. If you go look at B and you multiply every number in B by 1/2, those are the numbers that should come out. And now I just add, and so I'm going to get little equations here in my final answer. Remember, you can only add like terms. I can only add numbers to numbers. I can only add x terms to x terms, y terms to y terms, t terms to t terms. And so what my resulting matrix is going to have, it's going to have little bitty equations in each spot. So the first one is going to be 4x plus 2, and that's all that's in the first spot. 4x plus 2. Next one's going to be y plus a -4, which you could write y plus a -4. More than likely, though, the way they'll write that, if you're looking for your answer, because these will show up usually as multiple choice, is instead of writing y plus a -4, they'll write y minus 4. Right, same thing for the next one. 2z plus a -3, they'll probably write that as 2z minus 3. And then this one I can actually add. I have a -1 plus t, and I'm going to add a half to that. So I can take and I might write that out, -1 plus t plus a half, and this one will actually simplify. I can add my 1 and my -1 and my half, and I'll do that in a second. And the last ones are just numbers. 4 and 0 is 4, -7 and 1 is going to give me a -6. Alright, now this last one I'm going to rewrite. It's -1/2 plus t, right? Because I can add my 1/2 to my -1 to get a -1/2. And so if we're looking for the answer in that spot, now instead of rewriting it, because I don't feel like rewriting it, I'm just going to erase it and write that in my answer here. So -1/2 plus t would be that spot. Right, and there is my adding and subtracting. So like I said, I've got like 6 little equations here. Well, actually 4 little equations, and my last 2 are just numbers. The last example. Right, a lot of times on the final exam especially, this is how, because writing out an entire matrix is cumbersome, right? It takes a long time to do, especially if you're trying to use technology. Right? Technology does not like matrices. And so what they'll do a lot of times on the final exam, instead of asking you to find the entire new matrix K, they'll ask you for one part of K. Alright, so K is going to be taking matrix C times -2, subtract matrix B, and then add to it matrix D. But instead of asking you to find the entire matrix K, they only want one entry. They want the entry from K that's in row 2, column 2. COL stands for column. And so this is one of those cases, work smarter, not harder. Now I am going to find the entire K, just because it's good practice to do. But if you were working on a homework, test, or the final, you would only have to find one number. Alright, so I'm going to write out these matrices. So I'm going to take my -2c, and then I'm going to switch this to add -1 times b, and then write down my matrix D. Alright, so our original matrix C, first thing I'm going to do is going to multiply every number in there by -2. If you do that, you get 4, -16, -6, 12, -2, -1. And then the opposite of B, everything in B gets switched, so that was -4, +8, 6, 1, 0, and a -2. And then I didn't do anything to matrix D, we're just going to write that down. So 4x, y, 2z, -1 plus t, 4, and -7. Alright, now like I said, I am going to find the entire matrix K. Eventually. I will do that in a second. But if this were a test question, you don't have to do that. What you're just asked to find is the entry from K, that's row 2, column 2, and so you only have to add the numbers, or letters, that are showing up in all my matrix in row 2, column 2. And so from C, well, that would be 12, that's in row 2, column 2. In opposite of B, that would be the -1, and then in my matrix D, that would be the -1t. And so if this were a question on a test, what you're looking for, K22, would be taking 12 plus 1 plus a -1 and t. Right, making sure I wrote it down right. And so, well, the ones cancel each other out, and so I'm left with just a 12 plus t. And there's the answer that you would look for. That's my K22. Right here. And then you're done. You don't have to do anything else. You're done. That's all you're asked to find. Actually, I'll leave those in there since it's a little hard to erase. Now, I am going to go through and find the entire K just because I think it's good practice to do. But if, like I said, if this were a test question, that's all you'd have to find. Answer's done. Now, I am going to find the entire new matrix K, just so that you can have it as you want to practice with it. Alright, so my matrix K, so I'm going to add my, so I got 4, -4, well that cancels out, leave me with a 4x. -16 and 8 leaves me with a -8 plus y. 6 and 6 cancel out, right, 6 and -6, so I'm left with a 2z. 12, 1, negative 1t. That's going to leave me with my 12 plus t, right? Because the 1 and the negative 1 cancel out. I still have a 12 and I still have a t. And the last one is negative 2, 0, 4. It's going to leave me with 2, negative 1, negative 2. So that's going to be leaving me with a negative 10. And there's my entire matrix. There's the entry that I want, which is in row 2, column 2. So like I said, on the test, you wouldn't necessarily find the whole matrix K. You would just find this, and that's it. That's all you have to do is that single addition from all three of those matrices. Now, if you want to practice it, practice finding the whole entire matrix K, and there's my whole entire matrix K for you. Alright, we will stop there. We'll pick up the next set of notes in the next video.